All right, guess what time it is? It's that time again.
It's
What
that
up, coach?
time. It keeps coming back, whether we like it or not.
We make it keep coming back. I think that really is our
I
choice,
know.
right? We
It
could choose
is.
not to, but I think we both enjoy to bring it
No,
back.
it's so fun.
So
Honestly,
we are
highlight
back.
of my every other week. We're here for yet another real
Absolutely.
talk.
We did it. We're here. So we're gonna rock and roll like we always do. Coach, what are we talking about today?
Hack my day. Inventive ways for you to incorporate fitness and wellness into your life without putting a ton of extra effort in or having to schedule extra things into your day. Little hacks to make your life easier and more well rounded.
I love life hacks. I love life
Yep.
hacks. And yeah, of course, I'm the dork who came up with hack my day because I'm a dork. And so yeah, she's probably rolling her eyes, even though she's not rolling her eyes. But I thought it was clever. And so here we
They're
are on
staying,
Hack
they're
My
staying
Day.
down.
And yes, let's talk about some fitness hacks. Just hey, how can we make workouts, just kind of incorporated within the day, so we can check off that box and feel good, by the time we get to the finish. So first
Yes.
and foremost, all right, I'm just going to start with one of my passion areas when it comes to fitness, which is please, if you have the ability to walk around, go walk
Do
around. All right, I'm
it.
not a big fan of automated devices like escalators, elevators, sidewalks, treadmills. And we'll get into that one a little bit more. All right, bottom line is there's so much benefit to just walking around, not only physically but also mentally. There's all sorts of wonderful studies showing that just a little bit of activity, especially if you're getting some fresh air, some fresh sunshine with you, there's just a lot of wonderful stuff going on. So yeah, park far away from your destination, wherever that might be. Take the stairs up to whatever floor you're going to. Walk a scenic route around work or school or whatever you got going on. All right. And then, of course, if it's a last ditch effort, say it's a nasty, rainy, snowy, cold day, and all you got's a treadmill, all right, well, I will give you the approval to go ahead and treadmill it up. All right. But again, like I said, if you have the option to go even just for a walk around the block, a walk around the building or the house, there's a lot of wonderful benefit there. So keep it simple. Go walk.
Yeah. And so I sense a lot of treadmill hate coming from your
No,
side
never
of the
hate.
internet
Hate's such
right
a
now.
strong word. Hate's such a strong word.
Dislike.
Despise?
Uh,
No, maybe that's still a strong word.
okay, so hold on. So I have run a lot of races. I have um, trained at like pretty good levels of like sports teams and things like
You did
that.
an
I have
Iron
been
Man, so
encouraged.
yeah, you're good.
I've been
Your credentials are
encouraged.
legit.
Been encouraged to use a treadmill a lot through my life, and from in like from a runner's perspective, I'm curious because I've been told or taught in the past that treadmills can help with like pace training and all those things. Like why
Sure.
why would you recommend outdoor running as opposed to a treadmill? Not weather exclusive, right? Like we're just talking sunny 75 day. Why would you say run outside or walk outside versus run or walk on a treadmill?
Okay, so let's start with like what's a treadmill? All right, you know me, I love broad questions. Why? How? Those are just
Mm-hmm.
my favorite ones.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
what's a treadmill? All right, a treadmill was a device that was invented to put prisoners to work while they were in prison. All right, it's literally a device designed for manual labor. Okay, so
I'm
let's
seeing
just
giant people hamster wheels in my brain right now,
I'm
and
telling
it
you, it's a
makes me
real quick
laugh.
Google
Yeah.
search, just history of treadmill. All right. And you will see this is not made up. Stair steppers, too. Okay.
Yeah.
The idea
Oh,
originally was how can we get free labor out of our prisoners? Well, we can set up this belt to run this mill or to run this.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's not
Oof.
forget we haven't had all the technologies forever, so sometimes we needed just a belt moving to get something going. Well,
That's a hard
free
pill to
prison
swallow.
labor. All right, but hey, beyond that, right? Okay, so let's go with the modern discussion, which is, well, hey, if I can go outside and do this exercise, or I can go inside and do this exercise, there's going to be benefits to each. But what I bring up, all right, is the way that a treadmill works versus how running works outside. Okay, going all the way back to your physics class, probably in high school, maybe college, right? Good old Newton's laws of motion. Okay. If I put force into the ground, that ground is going to give me force back and it's going to propel me forward. That is how walking and running works. We're putting energy into the floor propels us forward. That's how it works. So we're getting a lot of good energy transfer going. If you think about a treadmill belt just going around, all right, we're essentially just bouncing up and down to keep from falling off. Okay, so in terms of the
True.
mechanics that you're actually going to use, say if you are preparing for an Ironman, a marathon, a half marathon, a turkey trot 5K, or just keeping up with the kids in the yard, bottom line is it doesn't translate. That's the way that I look at it from a scientifically nerdy standpoint, which is, well, the bottom line is it's not the exact same mechanisms in play. So
Sure.
if we want to replicate what we're doing on game day, whatever that might mean, bottom line is you're going to be so much better off going outside, putting that energy into the ground and getting it back, as opposed to bouncing up and down on a belt. And then of course there's going to be a whole lot of injury discussion. I talk about things like shin splints and being prepared to
Sure.
go
Yeah.
running, and things like treadmills, definitely kind of add to that confidence variable where people are like, oh, like I'll just jump on a treadmill and I'll just get going, especially as we have January approaching. It's going to happen again. It happens every single year. People are going to set their New Year's resolutions. They're going to show up at the gym on January 2nd, and then they're going to stop showing up by Valentine's Day. It
Is
is
January
as
1st through 7th the reason that there are 100 treadmills in every gym?
right. Okay. And that's the other side of the
Uh,
coin, which is, let's not
yeah.
forget, the fitness industry is a business. Okay. Most of it is not built like me. I legitimately am here to help people. All right. That's also why I'm
Yeah.
in my starving artist phase. Hooray. Bottom line is, the gyms are making a ton of money because people's expectation is, oh, well, if I go in and I work on the treadmill, I'm burning fat and I'm improving all these fitness variables. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
go back to our older episodes and you'll realize cardio is not a one size fit all perfect solution. It's
And
doing
it's,
some of the
yeah,
work, but it's not at all the whole picture. So,
sure.
but, but again, the fitness industry, the fitness business, all right, they're not looking at this from an aspect of, oh, well, what do our clientele need in order to make the most improvement and be the most efficient? It's how can we bring as many people in the door so we can build up our revenue stream and all the things that go with it.
Based on the first thing we talked about with this and now ending here, I'm just envisioning like Planet Fitness getting a hold of this video and then like also starting like or 20 whatever
Yeah,
big box gym you have
bring it.
with like a flour mill on the back of it just powered by everybody running on the treadmill.
I think of the ESPN commercial with Lance Armstrong powering the building. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but that's the thing.
I
It's
forgot about that
energy
one.
output from a
Yeah.
human body
Yeah.
going into another device. So I'm just
Oh
saying,
man.
between a little bit of history and a little bit of business knowledge, I think most people will realize, like, hey, maybe I should just go for a walk outside.
No,
That's
I
all I'm
love
looking to
that.
accomplish today.
No, I love that. I think that's great. So, okay, let's move on to number two because we've talked about like parking far away so
Mm-hmm.
you can walk. And the one that like comes up for me is like the grocery store, right? Like you get to your giant Save Mart parking lot or whatever, and it's like, okay, you could park at that front spot or you could park
Mm-hmm.
at the back where you're not going to get dinged by another driver or a door, right?
Right.
Plus, you get more steps in. So, tell us more about the grocery store hack you've got.
All right. So number two, yeah, let's think about groceries for a second because I'm pretty sure we all have to eat. I think we're all in the same boat there. So that's a pretty simple
Fact.
starting
Yes.
point, right? All right. Yeah. Bottom line is, like we just said with number one, more walking time is going to be a benefit. So yeah, if you got a big parking lot that you can park further away, cool. You're gonna, double up, triple up on the number of steps it'll take to get inside the building. The other thing I like to say is, well, we're essentially providing ourselves with this environment where, well, we are collecting all this stuff that we eventually want to bring home with us. So my challenge for people is, how much of that stuff can you carry? Right. And that's the bottom line, right? Is you can walk in and get yourself a wheeled cart, or you can walk in and get yourself a basket or two and carry your stuff with you. All right, let me tell you, as someone who programs workouts for a living, I can't tell you the number of times that I add carries into workouts because we have the data. All right, the bottom line is carrying heavy stuff, whether it be both sides, one side, overhead, what have you. Carrying stuff is challenging and it makes the body work. So, in terms of efficiency, right? Hey, I have to go grocery shopping. I could also build in a workout as I do that by carrying my groceries around the store. If you got double basket it because it's a week-long shop, cool, do it to it. You got yourself a nice, what we call a farmer carry. Coach, I'm
Hmm.
sure you've done a good share of that around the
I
property,
love
right?
I love farmer carries, honestly. Like, yes, I do.
Absolutely, right? And a cue we've always used for farmer carries in the gym is imagine you're carrying all your groceries at once. It's literally just the most
Yep.
straightforward way for people to conceptualize what we're going on is just, yeah, carry it. And something that Coach and I discussed as we were preparing was we've both lived in kind of the city environment or, within walking distance of the grocery store. You want to take that up
San
to the next level?
Francisco.
You want to take? Oh man, I was in DC. I mean, we were that, maybe a little bit of
Oh yeah,
that, but
San
yeah, San Fran.
Francisco.
Yeah, San Fran, you're doing incline hikes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
there's some more steps and some more challenge as you have to carry everything home. If you gotta put it down, you gotta put it down. It's
Which
okay.
I've done. Oh, many, many times.
I've done it.
Or switch grips because the milk is
Switch
too cold
grips.
in one
Yep.
hand and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or you're like you kind of slow down so that you have to stop at the stop walk and put things down instead of trying to speed your way across. Yep. See, we've all been there. But that's what we're talking about today, right?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
is turning the day into the workout so you don't have to think, oh, I need to go to the gym today and do my workout, right? It's more just, hey, how can I incorporate what I already have on my to-do list into being as active as possible?
Yeah. Well, and I honestly, for me, when I lived in the city, I had a little bit of a tighter budget. I was like working multiple jobs by myself, paying San Francisco rent. And for me, the shopping with a grocery cart or sorry, a basket rather than
Mm-hmm.
a cart was honestly like a budget tool for me too. Cause it's
There you
like
go.
I can only carry so much. Like I could
Yeah.
get stronger and carry more, I guess, or I could fill up the cart or the basket rather and say, okay, I'm done. Let's get everything that I can carry in. And I mean, I think that's a great budgeting tool too, honestly.
Yeah.
For people who are like usually overflow the cart and then they get to the register like $200. Oh, okay, cool. Like that's fine. I'm okay. Like maybe your cart is
Take a breath.
50.
Take a breath.
Yeah,
Take a
right.
breath.
Maybe your basket is $50 and maybe you can think
Right.
a little bit more mindfully about what you're doing. And that's like a
Hmm.
mindfulness practice too, right? It's not just a fitness tool. So
Yeah. And maybe it
that was
even
just,
makes
yeah, one
sense.
element.
Yeah, and maybe it even makes sense to just increase your frequency of going to the grocery store, especially if you're turning it into an exercise bout. Is
Yeah.
just, hey, maybe instead of going, once every 10 days and loading up the cart to the top, maybe you go once every 5, and now you're
Mm-hmm.
carrying all your stuff, So
Sure.
so yeah, I love that. I love that. But the bottom line is, right, I think a lot of what we're talking about so far is free. Yes? Uh-huh. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
sure.
a hundred
I mean, you're
percent.
gonna pay for the
Have
groceries,
not,
but the
yeah,
carrying part, yeah, that's free. The walking,
yeah.
totally free. I don't know anybody who's charging a walking tax right now. I really hope that doesn't become a thing as I say that, but
Uh,
it's not a thing yet. So, yeah, but the bottom line is, right, the assumption has always been, and again, this goes, directly in line with my experiences of working in gyms and waiting for that January rush, right? Is like, I think we're kind of learning or have learned at this point that the gym is a tool, but it's not a necessary tool. It's not a mandatory tool to have in your
mhm,
toolbox, right?
right.
It's great to have the option. It's nice to have access to special gear that you might not want to have at home. But as we've brought up on previous episodes, if you have a bit of creativity and a limited budget, you can come up with a pretty solid gym setup for the house, and that way, you're not going to the gym as frequently. Maybe you save yourself a little bit of money on that gym membership based on the kind of dynamic you're looking for. Maybe not taking that step too far. We joked in prep about watching marathoners during COVID just
Oh my God.
doing
People
laps
in
of
their
their
New
New York
York
apartments.
shoebox apartments. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
go outside
Injuring
again,
themselves
put on
running
layers or
marathons in
something.
their apartment.
Yeah, like yeah, it makes my head go crazy just thinking about it. So maybe
Yeah.
that's a step too far, but the bottom line is, yeah, what we're getting at here is, what we're getting at here is, yeah, in terms of the expectation of like, oh, in order to get a workout, I need to go to the gym. It's like, let's just nip that in the bud, let's just quit that, heightened expectation, bring it down to the reality of the situation and go, okay, how can I take advantage of these moments that are already within my day, right?
Yeah,
Speaking of
absolutely.
moments in the day, if you can't walk everywhere, how are you getting everywhere? What could you be doing?
Well, okay, so this is honestly my favorite hack of our list. And sorry, a child just walked in my room, so
All
there
good.
will be a slight
Just tee me
distraction
up.
in the background. No, so this is my favorite hack that Coach Rob brought up in preparing for this call. And he mentioned it a long time ago to me when we were kind of like tossing ideas for episodes around. And it was one that like, sure, like you might go to the grocery store and you might forget that we said pick up a basket instead of a cart because you're in like autopilot, right? You might not like immediately think like, oh, let me pull into that farthest spot because you see your favorite spot at the front of X, Y, or Z, immediately. But what you can do is grab some sort of tool and use this while driving. Please, Coach Rob, tell us all about this amazing hack that I adopted immediately and love so much.
All right. So this idea just came from the years of being in the industry and stealing it from another coach, right? But the bottom line is, we talked about how often people are driving, they're commuting to and from work, they're commuting to and from grocery stores, picking up the kiddos, right? There's all sorts of stuff that we're spending a whole lot of time in the car. So bottom line is, hey, what can we do while we're stuck in the driver's seat or maybe even in the passenger seat? So the one that I brought to coach's attention was the yoga block. All right. What I learned a while back is if you take a yoga block and you sit in between your knees while you drive, all right, you're not looking to break it as you go. You're just looking to
Brilliant.
hold it in place. All right. And what we're doing is we're working a muscle group, all right, known as the adductors. Basically, it's one of those kind of unsung heroes of the hip, right? We have a whole lot of stuff working around the hip, and we want to make sure that everything is used, balanced out. We don't have too many strength discrepancies or anything in the region, which can lead to discomfort, maybe injury potential, things of that nature, right? So how do we work those muscles? Well, while you drive, if you hold a yoga block between your knees, you're working all those muscles on the inside of the thighs that help bring your knees together, which is a great complement if you're doing a lot of muscles on the abductors, things that push things away, or the hip flexors when you're running, or hip extenders when you're running, or walking, or lunging, or I mean, the list goes on, right? So the bottom line is if you can get a yoga block or something of the sort in between the knees, all right, you're essentially doing a workout while you're commuting. And coach, you had a great little kind of modification to this based on what you've been doing since.
Yeah. So I had sitting, sorry, over there. I'm not going to go get it. I drink like so many of the basic bees out there right now. I drink my water from the giant 32-ounce Yeti tumbler. I love it. It's great. Um, a lot of people I know have Stanleys. That's like the cool kids have Stanleys. And those are also the perfect width
Mine.
and size. Instead
Yeah.
of putting it next to you in your cup holder, stick that bad boy between your legs and squeeze it. Okay. It's the best cup holder ever, In the summer, it's lovely because it's cold. In the winter, it's not quite as
Right.
refreshing. But the other part of this that immediately shifted for me is how my posture changed. And that was like the game changer for me. I went
Mm-hmm.
from either leaning on the arm of my door rest, driving like a gangster, right? To like
Shades
my
on.
correct exactly. Um, I pride myself on being a mom that doesn't have a minivan. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But my black forerunner, like you kind of have to drive it like this. No, but sitting up with my legs together, like I'm not slouching either direction. I've
Mm-hmm.
got like my 10-2 safety posture going, right? But it immediately checks you from head to toe of like, oh my God, like I'm a horrible driver in terms of posture. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love that hack. I think it's amazing. I think everybody should do it. I think I should plug my cup holder so I have to do it every single time. But yeah, I
Sure.
think it's a great way to add like that mindfulness piece as well as a fitness piece to your drives. We're all in the
Exactly.
cars. We're all in the
Exactly.
car. Like it's
Yeah.
just do
We
it.
have to do it. They're
Yep.
super awesome machines that get us from point A to point B a heck of a lot more conveniently than, well, back when they invented treadmills. So the bottom line is, the bottom line is, yeah, exactly. And I love the functionality of it because it goes back to so much of what we've talked about in former episodes. Hydrate, right? How many times have we talked about just hydrating as being the
Right.
simplest, easiest way to take care of the inside of your body? And
The life
posture.
hack. Yeah.
Yeah, and posture. Sit
Yeah.
upright. Get that string coming out the top of your head. And guess what? Yeah, if you're squeezing a yoga block, all of a sudden just one muscle group getting turned on is sending a signal to everything around them, including the hips, into the back and the spine. And yeah, exactly, right? You
It's
don't have to think
wild.
about it. It just turns on. And so you're now automatically life hacking while also paying attention to the road. Like let's also just
Right.
make sure we say that really quick. This is the little disclaimer asterisk at the top of the screen. Just
Yeah.
like, please do not stare at your water bottle or yoga block in between your knees while you
Or try
drive.
and drink
Yeah.
out of it
Or yeah,
between.
or that, right? Like we don't need to get sued for those shenanigans. We
Yeah.
now have Planet Fitness after us, so we don't need that.
Oh, yeah. Oops,
You know,
sorry.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not scared of them. They don't lift very heavy.
Come
Anyway,
at me.
so anyway, all right, so we're driving around. We're getting a whole bunch of stuff done. All right, as we've already seen with Coach Natalie's day, every once in a while there's going to be other life entities that need to be taken care of.
I have
Mine
1,000
happens to be
children.
four-legged and furry. She is sitting over in her bed, very relaxed. But yours happen to be slightly different. So what I like to bring up is that children and dogs make for great accountability buddies, and they also make for great resistance tools. All right, so that's our number 4.
We're also not telling you to go buy a dog or make a baby. This is another disclaimer
I
here.
mean, I'm less against this one. Like, let me just put it that way. Like, if this leads to people going to rescue a dog, I'm all for it. Sure, you want to go adopt a child? That's a heck of commitment, Like, but hey, it
Maybe
works.
start with the water bottle between your legs and see how that goes.
Maybe pet sit,
Yeah.
maybe start with a weekend and see how it goes, right? All right, so
Yeah.
let's discuss what the heck are these crazy people talking about as they laugh through their episode. All right, first and foremost, one, if you got a dog like me, let me just start with my own personal. All right, my dog loves to smell every single smell in the road, in the woods, on the sidewalks, whatever, right? So the bottom line is she's pulling me in every which way. I have to stabilize my posture. I need to hold onto her leash and make sure she doesn't pull me over. I need to make sure that she doesn't get hurt, running to the end of her leash like a Dorcas every once in a while, So being in control of another entity in which I have no idea what she's going to do at any given moment, well, I got to be in kind of that ready position at all times. There's a whole lot of musculature being activated as I do so. So, yeah. And let's not forget, she needs to go to the bathroom outside. So, going all the way back to number 1, I'm getting my walk done. I'm getting outside. I'm doing my walk. And so is she. So, it's a nice big win there. All right. Coach, what kind of stuff are you doing with your life entities?
Oh, so I have dogs that like are sprinters. They are hunting dogs. So those are dogs that need to be like exercise. And luckily we have a lot of room. We've just recently started taking them on walks, which is really fun, especially for my kiddos. And just like having that built-in walk for the day is another piece that like if you think about the well-being of your animal, right? And if you're not walking your dog every day, walk your dog every day. It will bond you, they'll love you, you get your steps
Yeah.
in, they're happy. Like it's
Yeah.
just a great symbiotic thing, right?
Yeah.
With my two-legged critters, my tiny humans, they just want to, they just want to play physically. Like daddy throwing them in the air is their favorite thing in the whole
Awesome.
world. Mommy doesn't throw them. I'm not quite strong enough to get a lot of air, but I do lift them a lot. I hold them a lot. They love to be cuddled. Just that like mindful picking up is like the squat and lift, and all those things are great for me. We play some games like on days where I want to work out, but I don't feel like I have the bandwidth to maybe like have childcare or entertain them so I can be on my own. I will incorporate them in a way that we call animal Tabatas, and that's like a 20-10 timer, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. The kids get to pick what animal we act like. It's like, okay, if we're kangaroos, like I'm doing plyometric work for 3 minutes and 50 seconds for my set of, 8, alternating with elephant crawls, which I'm doing, bear crawls basically.
Love
around
crawls. Yeah.
It's awesome. And like they're having a blast, you're having a blast, you're sweating, they're not breaking a sweat. And you're like, why is this fair?
Youth. The answer is youth.
But yeah, like turning it into a game with them is just amazing. And also piggyback rides, like going back to the carry thing, like,
Sure.
man, the amount of times my kid, like going down to the mailbox or whatever, throw a kid
Mm-hmm.
on your back, give you some
Mm-hmm.
extra weight to carry. They'll love it. They'll think it's
Yep.
the funniest thing ever. And yeah,
Exactly.
new tradition for you guys too. So those are just some ideas
Exactly.
of what we do at our house.
Right. And I think what all this comes together, and something we kind of talked about a couple points back, is just like, let's break down what counts, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I think so many people bring that to my attention as a coach. I know you've heard it too, coach. Is just like, oh man, like I got all this stuff in my day. And I just, I tried to do some activity, but I just don't think it counted. And it's just like, again, we just got to bring that bar down. Like just
Mm-hmm.
the mental gymnastics we play with ourselves of like, oh, what counts, what doesn't count. As you said, I mean, if you're carrying something for 3.5 minutes or bouncing up and down for 3.5 minutes, like
Mm-hmm.
good luck not losing your breath. I know how energy systems work. There's no way you're getting through that without ending up talking two
Yep.
words at a time, like
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, right? Same with your groceries, same with all these ideas, right? Again, what counts is anything that you choose to make active versus the alternative of doing nothing, right?
Yep.
It's really that easy. So yeah, you got to check off a whole bunch of boxes to get through the routine. Awesome. Take a look at those boxes and go, okay, what sub boxes am I checking off? Oh, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
grocery shopping. There's some carry work, so I'm getting posture and
Yep.
strength. Oh, the kids have this, maybe a Girl Scout meeting today, and they're going to be running around, and I'm going to be playing with
Mm-hmm.
them. Counts, cardio
Yeah.
intervals, like that's the thing. It just takes a little
Yep.
shift in perspective, and suddenly you realize, like, oh, I'm already like a quarter of the way there, halfway there, 80, 90% there. And now it's about like, okay, how do we fill in that remaining percentile so that we can take full advantage of the day?
Yeah. Just because your watch doesn't count it as like a formal workout doesn't mean you weren't putting in work. Like, yeah, don't be a slave to those sort of boxes and
Yeah.
constraints that we've placed around fitness and wellness and
Yep.
four
Yep. These
walls,
devices
whatever
are,
it is. Yeah.
yep, just like any tool, right? There's going to be positives and negatives. I have one quick it's not really a horror story, but a judgmental story, if you will, which is I had a client back in the day who told me that she waited outside of a Best Buy first thing in the morning because her Fitbit had died the night before and she wanted to make sure that all of her activity that day got logged.
Oh, that's
And
so
it's like,
sad.
yeah, right. And that's what I want to get at is just like what I had to explain to her is like you realize that doing the activity is the important thing. Whether or not it gets recorded on a little accelerometer is kind of the last thing I'm worried about. You're doing
Yeah. Also, were you jogging
doing
outside the
it.
Best Buy or just standing there?
Just literally set the alarm first thing in the morning to go
Oh
before
man.
everything
Oh,
else that day. And that's
oh,
what I mean. Is just like, again, it's a tool. We can use it. It's very helpful when it comes to statistics and being able to pat ourselves on the back for a job well
sure.
done, but it's not mandatory. Again, let's get rid of
Right.
these mandatory expectations of, oh, I need a gym membership. I need a Fitbit. No, you don't need any of that stuff. All right. What you need is time. What you
Yeah.
need is space. All right.
Yeah.
What you need
And you
is
got
some
that.
creativity, and we can do all that stuff. That's why we're
Yeah.
here. That's why we do these episodes, is so that, yeah, hopefully people watch and go, oh, yeah, I should give myself a little bit more credit and think about, the ways to make this, 70% effort into 100%, just as efficient as
Yeah.
possible. Cool. That's what we're here for. That's absolutely the name of this game. So love it. Love it. All right. Rant over, I think. Let's go ahead with number
Well, I was
5.
gonna say we kind of rolled into number 5 with your story about the Best Buy gal, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
say you're waiting in line outside.
Yeah, I did that
What can
by
you
accident.
do? I know you did, but it worked perfect.
We're so
What
good
can
at
you
segues.
when you're
Oh my
waiting
God.
in line, Coach
Oh my
Lobo?
gosh. Okay, so yeah, so you're out in the world, all right, and suddenly you realize that there's other people out in the world who also want to do the exact same things as you. I know, so
Yes.
inconvenient. So you're standing in a line, you're standing in a queue, all right. Bottom line is you just gained some time. Like this is exactly what I'm talking about. You just earned time that you didn't expect. You have to stand there in order to get to whatever you're waiting for. So use it. All right. We've talked about this in the past. I'm a big fan of breathing exercises, just focusing on the breath, getting a little bit of mindfulness. All right. Personally, I love Headspace. I am a daily Headspace user. I have a wonderful streak going. I don't remember what it is, but it's in the high 200s. But yeah, bottom line is I've been
But
in a
who's
line.
counting? Who's counting, Rob?
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Bottom line is it's a tool that I know that I have access to, that I know has been very helpful for me. All right. And if I'm standing in a line, and this has happened in just the last few weeks, is oh, let's stay on this line. Oh well, it's fine. Headspace app, do some breathing exercises. You know, by the time you're halfway through it, oh look, I'm at the front of the line. I get to turn this off and get on with the rest of my day. And oh, by the way, my hormone levels are a little bit more balanced, and I'm feeling a little bit less stressed. And yeah, and I used my time advantageously as opposed to standing here sulking about how I'm standing in a line. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I mean, if you're not a very self-conscious person, like I know some of us wouldn't be caught dead doing this in the grocery line, but that's your time too. Do some squats or lift your basket overhead too. You know, like there's
Yep.
I love the way that you put it where you just earned time, right? Like how many of us complain about not having any downtime during our day? You just
Everyone,
described like
all the
the
people.
perfect amount. Right. You just described the gift of downtime that you weren't expecting and maybe you
Right.
thought you didn't want, but like use that gift now, right? Like I have used Headspace in the past. I don't pay for the subscription. I've used
Hmm.
like their free kind of intro
Sure.
meditations back when that was available sort of at the beginning. But I love the Calm app too. That's another one that's a
Yep.
favorite and one I think you've probably tried or at least used it in
Yeah.
the past at some point in time.
And just before we move past Headspace, don't forget Netflix has a free series of Headspace meditations. I always make sure to
I
bring that
didn't
up.
know that.
Netflix has a whole Headspace series. There's one on
That's
sleep. There's one
cool.
on intro to meditation. I think there's a third. All of them included in Netflix. So I just want to make sure we covered that before we move past the
So
Headspace.
cool. So cool. Um, and if you don't want to pay for either of those apps, which is totally fine,
All good.
YouTube free has so many breathing exercises. And I promised Rob I'd send him some links, and I have to do that after we're done here. But of some of my favorite breathing ones that are like
Cool.
not necessarily ones you have to listen to. So if you don't have your headphones on you or you don't want to blast it in a public place, like it's a visual meditation where like a marble rolls around a circle or
Cool.
a light brightens and dims, you
Yep.
know, lots of
Yep.
cool ones out there. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
right? And so that's the thing. All the tools, there's so much accessible. We got these little supercomputers in our pockets at all times. All right. Yeah, let's use them for our advantage as opposed to just sitting and, finding out what's going on in a reality TV show or, playing another game that has no, real reward at the end of it than a fake currency that it made up. Right. Like, yeah, no, like take care of you because you have that time now. And yeah, it's just, again, a recognition, a shift in perspective. But overall, yeah, that's what we really wanted to handle today is just like, hey, with all the stuff that's already on your plate, we're going into the holiday season, so it's only getting more loaded up. Yeah, just start to shift the perspective a little bit and make sure you're giving yourself credit where it's due,
Yeah.
right? And the bottom line is, all right, and for our last segue of the day, speaking of YouTube, all right, first and foremost, because we're YouTubers now, make sure you like and subscribe below and all that good stuff for algorithms and
Smash
such.
that like
All
button.
right. Don't forget you can support the channel by heading to the Patreon link down below in the description. Any contribution is more than greatly appreciated, especially with the holiday season coming up. There are gifts to be bought, so we're going to need some finances coming in. All right. And like we've brought up in the past, I am now putting more of my eggs into the YouTube basket. So in the coming weeks, all right, again, just a reminder, there are new projects in the works. All right, one I was kind of hinting at in the past, but now I can say is definitely happening. Is going to be Coach Slobo's quest to break 100. All right, what that is I am creating a whole series of videos on basically me teaching myself golf and watching a
I love
novice
it.
trying to figure out this what is overall not really a complex sport, but gets super complex the more you get into it, right? Breaking it down from the perspective of a personal trainer, strength coach, and super novice golfer who is very much trying very hard currently and moving forward to break 100 on the golf course.
I love
The
it.
other thing I'm bringing back is my weekly office hours. Hooray! So literally free, all right, free, all right, access to me You can live chat with me here on the same YouTube channel. All right. I'm aiming to do Wednesdays. It's probably going to be around like 6 p.m. Eastern. So for Coach, it'd be around 3 o'clock for your peeps. All right. Bottom line is, I'm going to be sitting accessible at a screen, and I just want to be available. All right. I'm going to be doing stuff in the background to help me pass the time. Ideas include I'm going to be playing some video games and streaming. I'm probably going to do a guitar set or two and entertain the crowd. And who knows what else? I've also thought of just pointing a camera at my dog and having people watch my dog for an hour, right? Like, I don't know. Whatever people are looking for, I'm going to provide it. Bottom line is, this channel will be here as another tool for you to access, all right, and hopefully take advantage of all the limited minutes of the day. So yeah, that's the plan of action for the next few weeks. So keep an eye out. And like I said, if you subscribe, you're going to get notified. So it makes it super easy.
Amazing. I'm really excited for the office hours. That sounds like a blast. He's
Yeah,
fun to hang out with. So
you can literally just
jump on
chat with
it.
me like we're chatting right now. All
Yeah.
right. You can ask any and all. We don't have to talk fitness. We can talk about any hobbies or whatever. Just think outside the box. Just, I'll be hanging out on YouTube. Come hang out with me. All right. Literally the same exact channel you're on right now. So it should be pretty easy to find. Nice and
Perfect.
convenient. So, Coach, I think we're all set for the day. I just want to say thank you as always for being an awesome co-host. Thank you
Oh, thank you. And thank
providing
you
all the
all for
great ideas
joining.
this week. And yeah, anything else before we call it a day?
No, I just appreciate you and everybody who watches, and we'll see you next time on Real Talk.
Until then, have a wonderful day, week, whatever it might be, and we'll see you the next time. See ya.
Bye.